Welcome back to this series, where I dig through Steam new releases and try to find fun games and maybe even the next LEGO Scooby-Doo. The game I will be checking out today is Quasimorph End of Dream. This game is the prologue/demo to the main game Quasimorph, which is releasing on August 16th, so this seemed like the perfect time to play it. The game describes itself as a turn-based extraction RPG, which sounded like quite an interesting concept. The description also told me to prepare for unforgiving combat, and that my ship would be piled up with the dead bodies of all my characters. And after playing the game, I can say that is definitely not an exaggeration. Anyways, the game starts and my spaceship pulls up to a planet that my assistant tells me is Venus. I also find out that a company, Freshco, has been terraforming Venus while also conducting research on Quasimorphosis, their findings on which are their most prized possession and what we are after. The company has been trying to grow plants and transform Venus into a tourist hub. However, Venus is Venus, so obviously this didn't work. Construction delays were announced, and apparently the company wasn't even paying back their loans. What a shocker. Their collaboration with the PMC, I don't know who that is, was leaked to the media, and after that, everything went south. My objective, to infiltrate a possibly unrated Freshco base, which also may be a Quasimorphosis research lab. I was hyped and itching to get into the action. However, the start button was grayed out. I was pressing every button to try to get this underway, but hardly anything was changing. Until I opened the options menu and found out that this game uses the numpad to move. That was a new one. But even that didn't really change anything. I pressed the numpad buttons, but the ship didn't move. It turns out starting a mission in this game is quite a process. First, you have to click on the human icon in the mission details screen. Then you have to click this button to change the text to OK. Then you have to select a faction, which I couldn't be bothered to read any of the abilities of. Then you have to manually create your person's entire inventory before every single attempt. And then you have to highlight this random thing, which will light up the start button. So I've landed. I take some time getting used to the interesting keybinds, to say the least, and then head through a door and encounter my first enemy, who proceeds to throw a grenade, which never exploded for some reason, and shoot me. Then a giant spider showed up behind him, but I didn't panic and carefully tried to weave around this box, taking shots at them, most of which missed, even though the game is point and click to shoot. My health was not looking good. I hid behind a box to try to figure out how to heal, but couldn't find anything. I peeked back around the box to see if my enemy had advanced. One of the weird things I noticed was that my HUD was saying things like, "You are losing -1 health per turn," even though I had no idea what a turn was. I found out later, and I'm still not 100% sure, but I think that every tile you move counts as one turn, and each enemy gets their own movement turn in between each of yours. This led to some mechanics like reloading being really weird. In most games, you would have, say, a 3-second long reload animation, but in this one you have a 3-turn reload animation, meaning that you have to move 3 spaces to reload your gun, which was quite awkward and unintuitive to play, and on multiple occasions I found myself sitting there for like 10 plus seconds waiting for a reload to finish, before going, oh wait, I have to move. But I continued on and found an elevator that took me to the 2nd floor, where I got confirmation that this base did indeed contain a lab. Unfortunately, a few minutes later I encountered an enemy who threw a grenade, and, in an incredibly stupid decision, I decided I didn't want to be trapped in between the enemy and the grenade, so I ran backwards, towards the grenade, where it proceeded to explode and insta-kill me. But I did not dismay. I was determined to beat the tutorial level. Also, it was on this attempt that I discovered that the map is randomly generated every time, which was a cool feature. Eventually, I made it back to the 2nd floor, where I picked up an item chip, And then my assistant chimed in and said that valuable items like this allowed whatever company I work for to justify the cost of rescuing me. She didn't need to say any more, and I immediately raced back to the ship. But when I arrived, nothing happened. Upon actually reading the dialogue closely, it appears she was trying to say the item that this key unlocks is valuable enough for a rescue. So I begrudgingly carried on, eventually making it to the third floor, the laboratory. However, I quickly encountered a mini-boss that I was not equipped at all to deal with. The problem I had was that I couldn't outspace it because my character could barely see one tile in front of them, and you need line of sight to shoot. So my only option was to stand right next to it to see if I could beat it in a DPS race, which I could not. On my next attempt, I quickly made it to the second floor, but could not find the elevator. Eventually, I cleared the entire floor and looped back to the starting room, where I found that it was hidden right next to the first one, so I could have literally skipped this entire floor. On my next attempt at the laboratory, I tried to be as careful as I could, but apparently I wasn't careful enough, and got wrecked by an enemy who obliterated like a third of my entire health bar in a single punch. So, for the second game in a row in this series, I was unable to come even close to beating it. I was not entirely sure if the game was meant to be this hard, so I tried looking for easier missions on other planets, but the only other one that was unlocked had nothing on it. As far as ranking this game goes, it definitely was a lot less buggy than Silence in the Cabin, and the gameplay was pretty good, even though the weird turn mechanic took some getting used to, and I feel like the game would have been better if it was just not turn-based at all. Also, although I like hard games, I think you need to give the player a little bit more time to at least learn the mechanics before throwing them right into the deep end, like this game did. But this is only a demo, so maybe the full release will be different. So yeah, thanks for watching.